Hello everyone, I am Nitesh Gautam, consulting editor at Envoy Excellency magazine. Today, it is my honor and pleasure to take a web interview with His Excellency Mr. Ajay Bisaria, High Commissioner of India to Canada. Welcome, sir. Before further going for the interview, let me give a quick brief about Envoy Excellency magazine. Envoy Excellency magazine is an international monthly magazine backed by DN Media Group. We specifically cover political, national and international affairs, trade, tourism. Our Envoy Excellency magazine is directly reach out to the ministries, diplomatic community worldwide, Chamber of Commerce, trade unions and institutions, high net worth individuals and corporate houses. My first question is, how has COVID-19 affect India and what is the action plan as the world began to reopen after a stringent lockdown?
Well, as you know, COVID-19 has had a devastating impact on the entire world in 2020. But if 2020 was the year of the virus, 2021 is the year of the vaccine. It's a year of healing. It's a year of getting better. And India, fortunately, has managed the coronavirus very well in terms of the public health situation. We are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. We are getting out. Our total infection numbers, per capita infection numbers, and mortality rate is one of the lowest in the world. And today, India is not just the pharmacy of the world, it is also the vaccine maker of the world.
Yes.
And India is part of the vaccine international solution. So we moved from a serious public health crisis, which India managed with exemplary sort of efficiency. And we've now moved to a situation of healing and moving on to a recovery, an economic recovery from the contraction brought to the economy by this public health crisis. So I think India is moving in a very positive direction. The world recognizes it, and we hope that the Indian economy will in 2021 provide a V-shaped recovery and become an engine for global growth, apart from an engine for growth for India and Indians.
Yes. And then my next question is, for an astute diplomat like you, having a distinguished career spanning 2 decades and serving India in various capacities, tell us about your journey so far and what it means to you to serve your country.
Well, it's a privilege and an honor to be serving India and serving as an Indian diplomat. I feel my own journey in diplomacy over the last 3 decades has paralleled India's journey as a rising country, as rising India. And I've been fortunate to have been part of this journey of India and to have observed it very closely. When I joined service in 1987, that was on the eve of India's economic reforms in 1991, where the Indian economy really took off. The first decade was of consolidation. After that, we also of strengthening India from within. For instance, we went nuclear in 1998. And that was a moment of strengthening the Indian economy and strengthening the Indian polity and India's defense. And then with the turn of the century, India moved to the global high table. And India was part of all the global conversations after 2000 or so. And beyond that, I had the privilege of serving with Prime Minister Vajpayee in those days between 99 and 2004. And then came the global economic crisis about 10 years ago, 2008-9, when the G20 started having more meaning and India became part of the G20 and part of the global economic solution as well. And I had the pleasure of being at the World Bank at that point and watching the G20 and that process grow up. And in the last decade, again, it's a sort of takeoff stage for both the Indian economy and India's own role as a responsible global player in both the multipolar politics of the world, but also in the economic conversations. So it's been personally a privilege for me to have been serving India in these years.
Yeah, of course. And my moving to the next question, could you please put India's growth trajectory during the past 10 years into perspective?
Well, India's growth, as I mentioned, has been taking off for a period of time. And what we have been hoping is to move towards a higher growth trajectory of growth of in the double digits. And after a period of consolidation, after the initial burst of reforms, there have been incremental reforms. And now I think we have three basic issues that we tend to address. One, we need higher growth. And for that, we go in for wide ranging reforms, including structural reforms of the economy. Even during the current pandemic, you would have seen the wide ranging reforms in the Indian economy across the board in land, labor, capital, in agriculture, in education. So, this is to remove the structural constraints to growth. And this has been accompanied by a direct assault on poverty. We want to lift all our countrymen out of poverty, and for that reason, we have been, experimenting with newer ways of directly assaulting poverty, including cash benefit transfer. So I would summarize this last decade as one of India's attempts to reform and move to a high growth trajectory while being very sensitive to the less privileged Indians who also should be brought into a very inclusive kind of concept of development.
So my next question is, how did the Indian government facilitate in bringing back stranded Indians to India during the pandemic?
Well, as you know, India launched one of the largest such programs in the world, which was called the Vande Bharat Mission. With the help of Air India, we helped airlift right from the beginning of days of the pandemic in about May. We airlifted large numbers of Indians who were stranded abroad. In Canada, that had a very positive effect. A large number of students were here who were stranded. Canada has about 230,000 Indian students, and many of them wanted to return. So with Vande Bharat, we've had more than 200 Air India flights that have brought back more than 42,000 people in this entire period. And apart from that, we've had an air bubble arrangement with Canada where Air Canada has also been working, and they have brought a large number of people, about 25,000 odd people. But today, as we enter the post-COVID era, we have more flights between India and Canada than we had in the pre-COVID era, because this is an attempt to develop a bridge between two very important economic partners. People need to travel, but also because of the organic links that many diaspora people have with India.
Yes. And moving to my next question, tell us about the major development in the trade relationship between India and Canada. What can be done to boost the channel?
Well, the trade relationship between India and Canada has been a very positive story. Trade has exceeded 10 billion US dollars if you include trade in goods and services. And overall, the economic engagement has been very strong. So, despite the pandemic in 2020, we finished with an economic engagement of over $100 billion between India and Canada, if you include uh, trade, investment, and also the remittances and tourism spend. So, if you include all these, we have a trade and investment and economic engagement of $100 billion. We hope that by 2025, this doubles. This number would double because as the Indian economy doubles in size from an economy, we hope to reach the $5 trillion GDP target by 2025. So I'm sure the Indo-Canadian trade and investment picture will also get better. There are multiple good things happening in the Indo-Canadian economic corridor, and that includes a lot of technology which Indian companies are beginning to harness. There is also a lot of activity related to startups and innovation. So we hope that we move into newer sunrise areas in this relationship and develop it even further.
And my next question is, yeah, of course, India will celebrate 72nd Republic Day on January 26, 2021. So how was the celebration, His Excellency?
It was an excellent celebration in keeping with the new normal. We could not have a big diplomatic reception, which we normally do because of COVID conditions and restrictions. So, what we did was the next best thing. We had an online celebration with a large number of Canadian dignitaries and a lot of Indian diaspora and a lot of Canadian friends and Indian friends. And we had this online program which included culture, which also included cuisine, because we could deliver a lot of cuisine, Indian food to the homes of those watching the celebrations on their screens and on their television sets. So we had a new and innovative way of celebrating, and the celebrations are continuing as the large Indian diaspora who has multiple ways of celebrating Republic Day. And, almost for a month after Republic Day, many of these events take place, and we are happy to be part of several of those.
Thank you, His Excellency. And my last, but not the least question, like kindly give us any message for our readers or viewers for the Envoy
Well,
Excellency.
continue. I would say you should continue doing what you're doing, building bridges, interpreting India for the rest of the world, and interpreting the rest of the world for India. And keep watching the India-Canada corridor. That is a very healthy and strong corridor, both in terms of political relations, in terms of the economic potential, and also in terms of the people-to-people ties. So all the best to your viewers and readers, and please keep building the bridges.
Thank you, His Excellency, for enlightening us with your views and opinions. And thank you. Namaskar. And further, and we will invite you to connect with us on our Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And you can also download our Envoy Excellency mobile app, which will be available on the Play Store, where you can find this video and with this interview with His Excellency. And thank you, His
Thank
Excellency.
you.
Thank you, His
Namaskar.
Excellency. Namaskar.